What's up everyone, Zachary Seif here, and today we're going to talk about 5 things I learned from Mr. Beast. For those of you who have been living under a rock for the past couple years, Mr. Beast is the #1 YouTube channel. His main platform has reached over 90 million subscribers, and his total YouTube conglomerate empire has close to 200 million subscribers as of the timing of this video. And I recently became aware of Mr. Beast myself from his podcast episode with Joe Rogan. Now, all politics and thoughts on Joe Rogan aside, if you are a YouTuber or any sort of entrepreneur or business owner and you don't listen to this episode, you're missing out on free information on how to grow a multi-million-dollar empire. So what exactly am I doing talking about Mr. Beast on a music YouTube channel? Well, there were a couple things that I learned while listening to this podcast episode that really made me feel like I connected with him on a personal level through some similarities that we have, but also I found the secret to his success, and I want to kind of share what I've learned in a short little video that starts right now. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. According to my analytics, 90% of you are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me a sad guy. Why don't you take 2 seconds, smash that subscribe button, we'll get going with today's video. So let's start with the most important factor here, which is his hyper obsession with YouTube. Mr. Beast stated himself that he seldom partook in any other sort of activities outside of video gaming and YouTube. He spent all of his time in middle school and high school doing those 2 things, being hyper focused on it, hyper obsessed, and only talking about those things. And I believe that that's the main reason for his success, is that he found exactly what was interesting to him, something that he just wanted to always learn more and more about, from how people with large channels at the time did their editing and their cuts and what kind of shots they used, to what kind of thumbnails were going to get the most attention and how to interact with your fans and build a community. These are very important things that a lot of people tend to forget are crucial to the success of any venture that you have. What are the smaller parts of your business or your company, the industry that you are in, that will bring you from where you currently are to where you want to be? And I feel that that kind of relates to how I've been hyper obsessed and hyper focused on guitar. Ever since I started playing in 2008, that's all I did. I stopped playing sports. I stopped spending as much time playing video games, and all of my free time outside of school and hanging out with friends was spent playing the guitar, because it just felt warming to me. It made me feel accepted in the musical community. It gave me a voice that, without being able to speak, I could just express how I was feeling by learning my favorite songs and connecting to my favorite artists, or doing what I was learning in my lessons and feeling like I was getting better at it and I was progressing every day. So being hyper focused on something allows you to really dig deep into what makes that thing work, or what makes it interesting to you, and how the people who are at the top of the leaderboards, or at the top of the ladder, the top of their game, top of the industry, how did they get there? Well, if you dissect all the smaller parts and you start to stack them up like a Lego set, you'll get to the top. You just have to figure out what those little pieces are that you need first before you can get there. The second reason why I think Mr. Beast is so successful is the fact that he's constantly reinvesting his earnings into his company. As a musician, if you take the money you make from gigs or your part-time job or whatever else it is that you do to earn any sort of income, and you invest it in private lessons, better gear, a better computer to record, edit, and share your music, if you reinvest your money, you're going to have better access to tools that can help bring you from where you currently are to the next step. Mr. Beast reinvests millions and millions of dollars every year into his company. Trust me, the easy way out is to just take all of the earnings that he receives, right, all of the revenue that he generates, and just buy a nice fleet of sports cars and vacation houses and nice things. But he said himself that that doesn't do anything for him. He wants to keep on seeing how much farther he can go, right? What's the next big thing that he can do. And the only way to do something like recreate the Squid Games is to take the money that you're earning and reinvest it, because it'll help you build your empire and build your business. So the way that relates to me is when I was in college, right? When I was teaching, I took the money I made teaching and reinvested it to go take more lessons myself, to make sure that I could always be the best teacher that I could be by continuously learning from people who were even more experienced than me. Another thing that musicians tend to do is when you sell a guitar, you should be selling it to upgrade to something better or something that's more practical. Eventually you'll get to a point where you are generating enough capital that not only can you start earning some decent money for yourself, but you can also start to build a team. And that's when you start to really get to where you want to be. The people at the top aren't there by themselves. They have developers, they have, research and development, they have administrative assistants, they have people who help with coding and building, and whatever industry you're in, you're going to have other people who do the smaller jobs better than you can, right? If you're the creative mind behind what it is you do, who's taking care of your finances and your business, right? Who's taking care of all of your legal concerns? By generating enough revenue to start building a team, that's how you get from the bottom to the top. You can't do it by yourself. You can't do every single job once you get to a certain point in your career. So instead of spending the money on stuff you really don't need, like a new smartphone or a fancy watch or a fancy car, take that money, get only what you need in those other areas of living, and invest it in other people and new infrastructure so that your business can continue to thrive. The third reason why Mr. Beast is successful, and this is probably one of the biggest things that stuck with me, is the fact that he has diverse income streams. You have to diversify your income streams. He doesn't just have the one channel, right? He has multiple channels, and they're all not necessarily different, but we'll get to that in a second. But if all you're doing is putting all of your eggs in the single basket, your main focus, what happens if that all goes away tomorrow? What happens if, let's say you're building a YouTube channel and you have 3 videos that are blocked? 3 strikes, you're out, your channel's done. What happens if you have a startup company and it turns out that you were found guilty of infringing on someone else's IP? That business, probably gone. So one thing that Mr. Beast does is he's one of the first YouTube channels to have his content dubbed into multiple other languages. Only 10% of the world's population really speaks fluent English. So how are you going to reach the other 90% of your audience? And this goes for any business, right? English is the language of business, but it's not the only language that people speak. And it's not the only language that your product should be available in, depending on, again, what industry you're in. So he has studios in different parts of the world where he hires people to script out and translate his content and then voice over it in these different languages. So now people in Brazil and Japan and the Netherlands can all enjoy his content in their native language, and it just expands his reach and influence even further. Not only that, while his starting YouTube content was all video game related for the most part, he does other things too, like philanthropical work. Philanthropy work, that's the word I'm looking for. Where he'll have these video ideas where he gives people money to do a certain task, or he'll invite a bunch of people to an island and they see how long they can survive there. All that kind of stuff. These are really cool ideas, and it allows him to reach an even broader audience instead of just the video game community or just the business community or just the entertainment community. If you can reach more people by having diverse income streams, you're going to be more successful and more financially stable. And one of the ways that relates to me is that I do more in this music YouTube channel here, right? I'm not quite at 1,000 subscribers as of the time of this video, so I'm not making any money on YouTube, but I still do it every week because I love it. What else do I do? You guys know I teach private lessons 4 days a week, and I'm in a band that plays out just about every week as well. I'm also the artist relations manager for Quantum Ministries. That's where these dope cases come from. By having diverse income streams, I'm never stuck doing just one thing. Every day's a little bit different. It has its own challenges. It has its new exciting adventures. And why would you just settle for one single thing? You should be able to tap into multiple areas of revenue that fulfill you as an individual, that all relate back to your main passion, and for me, that's music. The fourth thing that I learned from Mr. Beast that I think should apply to everyone is building a small network of like-minded individuals so that you can help each other grow in size and success. And what I mean by that is Mr. Beast stated that when he was first starting out, there were a couple people that he became close friends with, and they were all other YouTubers, and they would all have their own goals, right, in their own kind of area of expertise. And when they found out something like a new analytic or statistic or found a pattern or trend, they'd share it with each other. And that's how they were able to become successful a lot quicker. You can only grow by learning from your own mistakes. But if you have 5 or 10 people also learning from their mistakes and sharing all of that information, you're gonna grow 5 to 10 times faster. It's literally that easy. So what I do is I like to surround myself with as many other musicians as possible, ask them what their experiences are, ask them what their thoughts on X, Y, or Z are. And from having all of these different opinions and personal anecdotes from other people's experience, it allows me to think about things in a new way. For example, when I'm on the road with Evolution X, why do I bring multiple guitars, multiple pedal boards, multiple cables, multiple packs of strings, multiple picks, etc.? It's because at one point or another, myself or someone that I'm close friends with had an output jack go, had a electronic failure, had a string break, had a cable break, had a power cord go bad, had a pedal board freeze. So the only way that you know to be prepared for disastrous situations is by knowing how to react to them when they happen to you. So if you build a small network of people that you really trust and you bounce ideas off of each other free of charge, just like friends would, you're going to grow at an exponentially faster rate than just doing everything by yourself. The final most important thing that I took away from the Mr. Beast podcast interview is that you have to love what you do. If you're not spending every waking moment of your life thinking about doing that thing that you're super passionate about, it's probably not a viable career option. Myself, music is everything. I've been spending the last 14 years of my life dedicating as much time as possible to not only guitar, but just music in general. How can I only do music and still be financially stable, mentally and emotionally happy, and motivated enough to wake up every day, hop out of bed, and continue to do the same thing every single day, right? Mr. Beast said that he spent about 10 years not really making a ton of money from YouTube or not reaching the goals that he wanted to, but he just loved everything about YouTube. He loved the people that were on it. He loved what he was learning from it. He loved everything about the platform. He loved editing videos, writing scripts, shooting and directing the videos, and that's what led him to become so successful. So for someone like me who spends every minute of every day doing something music related, that's why I'm currently where I'm at right now, which is my 6th year of doing nothing but music, right? And I teach, I perform live, I just went over all of that, but it's all music related. It's nothing else. I don't have any other jobs or sources of income that are not music related. It's because I love everything about it. There's always something new that you can learn from it. So if you can find that one thing that you're truly passionate about and really love and feel that you can really make a living from, then go out and do it. But if you don't think that you can put every minute of every day into it in order to make something where it can become a viable option, then it probably isn't something that you should make a career path out of, right? Not everyone can have a successful YouTube channel. Not everyone can be a Billboard topping artist. Not everyone can be a leader in the fashion industry. Not everyone can open a successful restaurant chain. But what you can do is give it a shot. Because if you don't try, you never know what you can accomplish. There are so many stories out there of people who started from literally nothing and are now at the top of the food chain. And if that doesn't motivate and inspire you to go out and do something that makes you happy, then I don't really know what will. That's all I have for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. It's a little different from the content I usually put out, but I was very inspired and motivated by this podcast episode that I had to share all of this with you. So why don't you go check out that episode? I linked it in the description below. Trust me, I'm not affiliated with Mr. Beast, Joe Rogan, Spotify, any of those platforms or companies, but I highly recommend you check it out, because you're going to take something away that I guarantee will motivate you to become more successful than you already are. Be sure to leave all of your thoughts in the comment section below. I read and respond to every single comment on my channel. I love seeing what you all have to say. And to circle back to earlier, hit that subscribe button. Help me reach my goals of being a larger YouTube content creator. I love putting out all these videos for you all. Been doing it for over a year consistently now, which I'm pretty proud of myself, but I also cannot thank all of you enough for your support and dedication. It makes all of the time and effort that I put into these videos worth it. Until next time, everyone, keep on following your dreams.